For the first time in decades, employees are being very particular about the jobs they want. Regardless of what's driving that shift, businesses will need to respond. Org-ology, our resident business gurus, are here to offer their thoughts on how employers can adapt to this new and unique market. Hi Heidi, hi Brent. Let's get straight into this. So what's going on?
People are job hopping. They're looking for the best employer because there is a lot of opportunity right now. So if you have an organization that does not have a structure that supports them feeling that they're part of the organization, feel like they can get promoted within the organization because there's an adaptable structure there for them to do that, they're going to look around for other employment. You may have a great structure, you may have a great process to promote people within that design, but if you don't have the technology to support them to do their job, again, they will look for a different job. Same thing, if you don't train the people and you don't educate them to be the best employee they can be and do it in a way that treats them with dignity and respect, they're going to walk away.
I mean, absolutely. My generation, it was all about jobs for life. And, and if you changed jobs too frequently on your resume, that was seen as something very negative. Today,
it's a positive.
That's a positive.
Yeah. You've tried 5 different things. Good for you.
Yeah. I've spoken to a couple of chefs that used to work in kitchens before the pandemic. They soon realized that once the money stopped coming in, how little they had in savings, how many hours they worked. And they're all reinventing themselves, or either changing career completely or finding another way of being a chef. Personal chefs, traveling chefs even. Suddenly they've got the same amount of money in their pocket, if not a bit more. They've got their hours back. They've got time with their loved ones. I mean...
Well, they've got flexibility. They've got control.
And the restaurants are all saying, we cannot find enough staff.
We need you back.
And that's the really interesting to draw back to if you are myopically focused on the only tools you have are hiring staff, firing staff, or giving them an IT system. You're missing about 80% of your opportunity to build a great organization. Personally, I think the chefs are doing the right thing. They're reaching for opportunity that gets them a better quality of life. But if I'm running a restaurant and I need to hire someone, that means that I, as an organization owner, have to up my game and consider, do I break up shifts? Do I do things differently? Do I organize the work differently? What do I do to invest in making a more creative business? So that I can recruit those staff and keep them.
And that's the thing, is keeping them. Because as an employer, you're thinking, well, this person, they've had 4 or 5 jobs in the last year. Should I invest in them when the likelihood is they're going to jump ship? I mean, how do you encourage your clients to get around that problem?
Well, there's an interesting little hook in that one that we may get into in later episodes.
Okay.
Fascinatingly, organization design is much more popular in Europe, where there are labor laws that protect workers and allow workers to stay for a longer period of time. Here in the United States, with the more dynamic labor market, hire and fire, leave quickly, shorter periods of time, we put less emphasis on it. So that would be something interesting to get into in a future episode.
Excellent. So how do you broaden your clients' thinking when it comes to training people and IT?
I suppose we use a combination of humor and personal insight, which is often hey, Louis was a great person on your staff. So why isn't Louis here anymore? I hear you offered Louis a raise, and still Louis left. Why did Louis leave?
And there you say...
Maybe there's something else at play. Maybe there's something else you should be looking at.
And why is it you think employers get trapped in that loop.
I think it just becomes comfortable for people to look in the direction of the question they're used to answering, which is, do I have the right people in the right place doing the right thing? If not, can I replace them to find the right people to do the right thing at the right time? And if you only focus on that part of the equation, you're missing out on so many opportunities to not have to deal with that piece of the equation.
So if I'm an employer, I'm listening to this podcast, what signs, what's going on in my business that tells me that I clearly have a people problem?
There are a few different indicators you can look for. One is retention. What is your retention rate, and has it recently gone up or down? Can also look at, if you're a larger organization, what are my disputes that are brought forward? Allegations of abuse, other things that can happen, because that's an indicator that your culture is not healthy.
We've had it happen more than once that if we conduct a workshop with a client, some form of an intervention, you can see the culture painted out in the interactions of the room. If people are supportive of each other or if it's toxic, you can figure that out in about 10 minutes, if you even need that long.
That interaction, that dynamic comes over immediately in those interventions then between the staff that you bring together.
It's interesting, outsiders see it, but the
Right.
boss and the supervisors hardly ever see it until you bring it to their attention.
And I'm sure you've had this where someone, a schoolmate or someone you were dating said, hey, come home, visit my family, come home with me for dinner. And you show up at the house and you sit down at the table and you think, holy hell, I can't believe they talk to each other like this. Same thing. Business situation, same thing.
Very good. Yeah, totally get that. Well, what are we heading off towards next time then?
We're going to look at kind of an interesting dilemma that's been coming up around the legal liability as an employer under COVID and how that's interestingly shifting.
Very interesting. Well, thank you so much for filling us in on the value of people. Catch you next time. Goodbye.
All right,
Okay.
thanks. Bye.
Bye.